Lord, I love only you. Lord, I love only you. Lord, my heart wants only you. To follow in your path, Lord, to follow without fainting, bowing at your throne, Lord, and never looking back. Amarte solati, Signor. Amarte solati, Signor. Amarte solati, Signor. Y no mirar atrás. Seguir sin desmayar, Señor, postrado altar to altar, Señor, y no mirar atrás. Seguir tu caminar, Señor. Seguir sin desmayar, Señor, postrado altar tu altar, Señor, y no mirar atrás. I love only you. Lord, I love only you. Lord, my heart wants only you. To follow in your path, Lord, to follow without fainting, bowing at your throne, Lord, and never looking back. To follow in your path, Lord, to follow without fainting, bowing at your throne, Lord, and never looking back.
Here we are once again, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Living Hope Today study. And today we find ourselves in 2 Kings chapter 6. This is a chapter that shows us what happens when a person is anointed by God, when a person is at a whole nother level, spiritually speaking. Elisha the prophet demonstrates the power of God repeatedly. Not only can he work things miraculously, but He knows. The Spirit of God tells him what's about to happen or what somebody's thinking. It's incredible to see the power of God flow.
Who is it?
There we are. I'm back, I hope. Help me, God. What am I doing wrong today? Let's see. Let's try this button. There it is. All right. Must be Friday. Okay. So here we go. 2 Kings chapter 6. Sorry about all that technical stuff. The company of the prophets said to Elisha, "Look, the place where we meet with you is too small for us. Let us go to the Jordan, where each of us can get a pole, and let us build a place there for us to live." What does Elisha say? You guys want to go to the Jordan and build something? Well, okay, go ahead. Excellent. The Jordan, you remember, is the river that both Elisha and Elijah crossed by putting the cloak in the water, and the waters parted and they walked through. They want to build a place. Elijah says, "No problem, let's go." All right. Then one of them said, "Won't you please come with your servants? We want you to come with us." "Okay, I will," Elisha replied. And he went with them. They went to the Jordan. They began to cut down trees. And one of them was cutting down a tree. As one of them was cutting down the tree, the iron axe head fell into the water. So now we're presented with a terrible problem. "Oh, my Lord," he cried out, "it was borrowed." All right, so because it's borrowed means we have to somehow retrieve it or somehow make another one. Something's got to be done because we have to return it to its owner. All right, well, the man of God asked, "Well, where did it fall?" And when he showed him the place, Elijah cut a stick and threw it there. Okay, so we're not talking about like a rod like Moses used or a cloak like Elisha and Elijah both used to part the waters. Elijah just cuts a stick off a tree and throws it close to where that axe head went in, and the iron floats to the top. Impossible, unless you're the prophet and the power of God is flowing through you. So the iron's floating, lifted out, he said, and then the man reached out his hand and he took it. It's a miracle. It defies the laws of physics, but there it is. The simplest little thing. Look at this. I mean, we could have just made another axe head, right? But no, God cares about even this thing that might look minor to us, all right? Elisha is given the power to do what only God can do, defy the law of physics. Well, the laws of physics. Now the king of Aram was at war with Israel. Okay, they're always fighting. After conferring with his officers, he said, "I will set up my camp in such and such a place." Well, the man of God, that's referring to Elisha, sent word to the king of Israel, "Beware of passing that place because the Arameans are going down there." So just get the dynamic here. The king of Aram is making his plans, and Elisha, without any sort of other intervention, he knows what the king of Aram has planned. And he's warning the king of Israel about the danger. So the king of Israel checked on the place indicated by the man of God. Time and again, Elisha warned the king so that he was on his guard in such places. In other words, none of the plans of the king of Aram are working out. This enraged the king of Aram. He summoned his officers and demanded of them, "Will you not tell me which of us is on the side of the king of Israel?" So we must have a mole in the community. There must be some sort of spy in our ranks, because every time we make a move against the king of Israel, he knows about it before we get there. What's going on? That's the king of Aram's question. "Well, none of us, my lord the king," said one of his officers, "but oh, here you go. Elisha the prophet, who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom. So in other words, they recognize that the prophet has the power to understand through the Spirit of God what's happening even in the enemy camp. So what does the king of Aram say? Go find out where he is, the king ordered, so I can send men and capture him. Now this seems a little short-sighted, doesn't it? If the prophet has this much understanding and God is with him at this level, do you really think you're just going to use your normal ways to confine him? Well, the report came back, he is in Dothan. Okay, so now we know where he is. Then he sent horses and chariots and a strong force there. They went by night. They surrounded the city. They're doing everything they can to get him. When the servant of the man of God got up and went out early the next morning, an army with horses and chariots had surrounded the city. Oh, my Lord, what shall we do? The servant asked. We're surrounded by a huge force. They're going to come and get us. What are we going to do? We don't have an army anywhere near the size of what's happening outside the gate here. What's Elisha's response? He says, look, don't be afraid. The prophet answered, those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Well, that's obviously not based in physical reality. A statement like that, you can look around the village and understand there's no way that village has an army the size of the army that's attacking or about to attack. So what kind of statement is that? Well, we find out in the next verse. And Elisha prayed. There it is. What do you do when you see trouble like that? You understand you got to go to God. Elisha prayed, O Lord, open his eyes so he may see. Elisha already has an understanding, spiritually speaking, about what's going on. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked, and he saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Notice, this is such a key for you and me. God has spiritual forces at his disposal that can act on our behalf as God brings them into play. We might never see them. Elisha has the spiritual eyesight to see the reality of what's happening in the spirit world and not just focus on what's happening in the physical world. The servant didn't have that capacity until Elisha prayed for him and the Lord opened his eyes. But when he opens his eyes, he understands now that the enemy thinks they've surrounded us, but God has surrounded the enemy. We don't have anything to fear. It's full of horses and chariots of fire. Wow. As the enemy came down toward him, Elisha prayed to the Lord. There it is again. Strike these people with blindness. That's the request. Don't kill them. Don't attack them. God, just make them blind. So he struck them with blindness, as Elisha had asked. So now you have this army coming towards you, and they're blind. They can't see. Elisha told them, this is not the road, and this is not the city. Follow me, and I will lead you to the man you are looking for. And he led them to Samaria. After they entered the city, Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men so they can see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they looked, and there they were inside Samaria. So now Elisha has taken the enemy army to a new location. When the king of Israel saw them, he asked Elijah, shall I kill them? Because, Samaria is the capital of the northern kingdom of Israel. If that's where the king lives, that's where the troops would be strongest, right? Shall I kill them, my father? Shall I kill them? In other words, we've got a great advantage now. Let's take our enemy out. And look what Elisha says. Don't kill them. He answered, would you kill men who have captured with your own sword or bow? Set food and water before them so that they may eat and drink and then go back to their master. We're not going to kill anybody today. Instead, we're going to feed our enemy. Wow, does that ring a bell when you think about your New Testament? Does that, love your enemy? Feed your enemy? Here you see it in action in 2 Kings 6. This whole army has been drugged to Samaria into the king of Israel's presence, and Elisha says, don't hurt him, feed him. Wow, well, what happens after that? So he prepared a great feast for them, and after they had finished eating and drinking, he sent them away, and they returned to their master. So the bands from Aram stopped raiding Israel's territory. Do you see this? Through Elisha's wisdom, guided by the Spirit of God, through the love that God showed this army, even though they had originally intended to attack, now they are doing what? They've decided not to raid Israel anymore. Wow, okay, so sometime later, Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, you remember Ben-Hadad, don't you? He was let go once by who? Ahab, remember? And it cost Ahab his life since he wasn't willing to kill Ben-Hadad as the Lord wanted. So sometime later, Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, mobilized his entire army, and he marched up and laid siege to Samaria. So here he comes again, the same guy, another time. There was a great famine in the city. The siege lasted so long that a donkey's head sold for 80 shekels of silver, and a quarter of a cab of seed pods for 5 shekels. In other words, there was so much starvation based on the fact that the siege had surrounded the city. There was no way to get food out of the fields, that the food that was still in the city went sky high in terms of price. Everybody's hungry. Nobody knows what to do. As the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, a woman cried to him, "Help me, my lord the king." So we see this little episode where the king is being called upon. The king replied, "If the Lord does not help you, where can I get help for you? From the threshing floor? From the wine press?" In other words, what? We're totally surrounded. You're asking me for help, but I have no more power than you have to remedy all this. I can't help you. And then he asked her, "What's the matter?" And she answered, "This woman said to me, 'Give up your son so we may eat him today, and tomorrow we'll eat my son.'" This is how hungry they are. They're killing their babies so that they can cannibalize them. "So we cooked my son and we ate him." Wow, man, what a verse. "The next day I said to her, 'Well, give up your son so we can eat him.' But she had hidden him." The old double cross, right? When the king heard the woman's words, he tore his robes as he went along the wall, and people looked, and there underneath he had sackcloth on his body. So that's a sign of repentance, a sign of humility. This is something the king's wearing under his robes. It implies that he's calling out to God for help in this terrible circumstance. He said, "May God deal with me, be it ever so severely, if the head of Elisha, son of Shaphat, remains on his shoulders today." Okay, wait a minute. So the army of Aram comes, and God protects Elisha. God brings that army to the king of Israel. He feeds them and lets them go. And now that the famine's here, the king of Israel is saying, this has got to all rest at Elisha's feet. It's got to be his fault. I'm going to take his head. I'm going to take his head off his shoulders. Again, no recognition for the power of God. Now Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him, and the king sent a messenger ahead. But before he arrived, Elisha said to the elders, "Don't you see how this murderer is sending someone to cut off my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door, hold it shut against him. Is not the sound of his master's footsteps behind him?" Wow, what's happening? Elisha knows all about the plan. How? By the power of God. While he was still talking to them, the messenger came down to him, and the king said, "This disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer?" Now he's getting ready to exact judgment on Elisha. Well, the chapter ends there. So we're going to stop there for today. But just understand, those who walk in God's power, what does it say? No weapon formed against you will prosper. It's not that we can never suffer if it's God's will that we do so, but as Elisha is demonstrating, God's power is with the ones that follow him and obey him and love him most of all. I trust that's where you and I will be today, where we love him so much that we do what he says and we experience his provision and his protection. God bless you, church. Serve him well today.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus. But do you know who he is? He's the image of the invisible God, and he's the brightness of his glory, the first, the last, the future, the past. He is God.